Good evening, gentlemen. It is Monday night, and I really have to do two things as I get started here tonight. I have to issue an apology and a thank you. So let me start with the apology. I just realized in looking at the course itself right now how hopelessly screwed up it looks like the copy process got, and probably a lot of it is my fault for not checking things closely before I allowed it to be released. So I'm not even going to try to stick this blame on anybody else but me, and I've desperately scrambled to put a couple of things together and get Unit 3 back in order, and I will go ahead and do so also with the following units as they come. It looks like things got copied twice. Dates were really off. You actually got a break here. You missed two discussion boards last week, but here comes the thank you. Everybody filled in really nicely with your really thoughtful, I think, and measured comments about the Colin Kaepernick and Nike issue, which I thought really did step up to the forefront and was an economic issue in sports as much as anything else. And we see an awful lot of sides to the argument. You folks, all three of you guys, handled it really respectfully and well, and I think we can all learn things from each other that way. And I saw it happening, and I couldn't be happier with that. So really, everybody stepped up and did it. Nobody came and complained to me about the course being screwed up, which was probably because half of it was hidden from you, so you didn't mind. So that's it. So what I've done this week, as I often do anyway, is included a couple of my old videos that explain the week, and because I try to rotate them in and take the oldest one out as they go. I looked back, and I have been teaching, as I said, I've been teaching this course for about 10 years, and some of the videos I have that I find still useful go back to 2000, 2008, 2009, 2011, those type of things, and the arguments are still the same. The difference is the news stories change, and as you see, we had that opportunity to do it last week. So this week, what you're going to see is a lot of things on some legal issues, and the legal issues revolve around this idea still of antitrust. And then antitrust, in a nutshell, is regulation on monopolies, regulation on the amount of control that any one firm or group of firms acting together have in a considered marketplace. And we can look at that in many different ways. Right now, I think we get some arguments about what the giant companies have done, and the ones that have become giant, like just recently Amazon hit $1 trillion in market value. Apple hit $1 trillion in market value. There was an argument a few years ago whether Google was a monopoly. There have been arguments whether Microsoft was a monopoly. Well, the one thing that's for certain is that the major league sports for that segment of their market are, in a way, monopolies. There's other sources of, say, football, but the NFL is the only source of top-level football in this country. Major League Baseball is the only source of baseball at that highest level in the country. There are no competing leagues. And what does this do in the market for players, the market for spectators, the influence that they have with advertisers or advertisers have with them, and hence the argument, and I don't mean that, I just mean that in a very technical term, the argument with Kaepernick, the Kaepernick ad series, and Nike and the NFL, how those relationships, are they too cozy? Maybe are they not competitive enough? These are the issues that are coming out. So some of the things you may see there in this week, and if I have a chance to get to them and work in some newer stuff, believe me, I will. What you're seeing, though, come from the last collective bargaining agreement, where back a few years ago, remember the players got locked out. And this has gotten to the point where we're seeing that there's not a great relationship right now between the NFLPA, the NFL Players Association, and the NFL. And contrast that with the NBA, where the basketball, the Players Association, and the league seem to have a great relationship. And there's already talk of when this current CBA, collective bargaining agreement, expires in 2020, look for another lockout in the NFL. So, if you're looking for something, maybe do a little extra reading and a little extra question asking about it. Those are the two things I would start to do, is to look at and maybe go out and search up some articles on the relationship, the labor relationships, and take those two sports and contrast them, because I think you're going to find things are very different between the two, and that's something we'll want to talk about. So this week, yes, there is a discussion that's always been there, and I ask you to look at the business structure of the NFL and really consider it in terms of some of the readings you've been given and some of the PowerPoint from the old text and some of the prior material. Take a look at it from the business point of view. Do you think it's 32 separate teams, or do you think it's one entity with 32 branches? Think about how it acts. Think about what the league does. Think about the purpose of the league. And that's leading into some things we'll go into next week when we start talking about competitive balance and things like that. But let's stick with some of these legal issues for now. All right? So once again, my apologies for the disorganization of the unit. If you got in there early, it was a mess. And I think I've cleaned it up in the last half hour and it looked pretty good. At least working on what I have. So therefore, I've got two of my older videos where I talk about what's coming up in the week. Then the other half, as I said, thank you for the way you handled that. Throwing in the current event type discussion, I think it went really well, and I think you can see how that really reflects, actually it was a good lead in to this week, and the relationship that big firms like a Nike and the NFL have with each other. And in this marketplace of sports, how do they have to work together to be successful? Does one need the other more than the other needs it? And those are the kind of questions I think we should be answering. All right, so look forward to this week, and let's see what we can get done. Again, sorry about the mess. Thanks for the work. Bye.